Revealed, 12 incredible jobs kids thrived in against all odds. Prepare to be inspired. In the heart of a small Midwestern town, where the air often hung heavy with economic struggle, a 12-year-old girl named Mia spun dreams from the edges of reality. She danced in a world where hope floated like dandelion seeds in the breeze, ready to lift others up. With every pirouette, she wove colorful threads into the fabric of her community, stitching joy into hearts weighed down by life's burdens. Mia knew that while she might not have safety or permanence, she had rhythm, and that was enough. On a worn wooden stage dimly lit by the fading sun, Mia clasped her hands together, her bright eyes reflecting the fading light. Surrounded by families grappling with the weight of bills and responsibilities, Mia found her sanctuary at Mr. Thompson's dance studio. The gentle veteran, with his kind smile and wise eyes, understood the magic of movement. He welcomed Mia as if she were his own, teaching her that dance was a language of the heart. With each twirl and leap, Mia felt the worries of the world melt away, replaced by the pure joy of expression. In her dance, she felt lighter, like the weight of sadness held no power in the face of beauty. But it wasn't just Mia finding solace in this space. Lucas, the tech-savvy dreamer, coded websites for struggling local shops with fingers that tapped as fast as his heart raced. Aria dived into her community garden, planting seeds of fresh produce for families that couldn't afford to eat. And the twin brothers, Jake and Ethan, transformed reclaimed wood into stunning furniture, a testament that beauty could be born from waste. Each child carried their story woven into their art, a tapestry of resilience and dreams. Together, they formed a circle of strength, uplifting one another through their laughter. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The town fair was approaching, looming closer than a thundercloud on the horizon. They all knew it would be a stage for their triumphs and a testing ground for their hearts. Could they weave their dreams without sacrificing their responsibilities? Mia felt the pressure build, as if every beat of her heart was a percussion itself, pounding out a rhythm of both fear and anticipation. In the days leading up to the fair, tension crackled in the air. Could her dance bring the needed spark to ignite hope within her friends and neighbors? As Mia rehearsed, she noticed the whispers and glances from those attending the practice. It became clear that this wasn't just about her performance anymore. It was a chance for her whole community to witness their spirit, to understand their worth. Then, as the night of the fair dawned, fear clawed at Mia's stomach like a wild animal. Just before she stepped onto the stage to share her heart, an unexpected obstacle arose, suffocating her resolve with a blanket of self-doubt. The crowd's buzz faded to silence in her ears, and the tension tightened in her chest. Would they rise together, or would their dreams be left to languish in shadows? Mia stood at the edge of the stage, the wooden boards cool beneath her bare feet. The lights flickered overhead, casting vibrant shadows that danced like her heart. A swirl of emotions wrapped around her like a heavy cloak, pulling her down. She could see the familiar faces in the crowd, her neighbors, the ones who bore their struggles with quiet strength. They were here, and they were counting on her, just moments away from stepping into the spotlight. Mia's mind whirred with doubts. What if her dance wasn't enough? What if they didn't see the joy she wanted to share? The memory of rehearsals flashed through her mind, the determination in Lucas's coding fingers, Aria's joyous laughter while tending to the garden, Jake and Ethan's creativity breathing life into discarded wood. They all believed in the power of transformation. But this was different. This was her moment. As she took a deep breath, Mia felt a presence beside her. It was Mr. Thompson, his reassuring smile capturing her attention. He leaned closer, whispering words that rang like a bell in her soul. Just let the music guide you. Dance from your heart, and they will feel it. Remember, it's about more than just you, you're sharing a piece of all of us. With his encouragement imprinted in her mind, Mia summoned the courage to step forward. There was a hush as the spotlight bathed her in brilliant light. She could feel the weight of the moment yet also the warmth of the hopes resting on her tiny shoulders. For a heartbeat, time stood still, the music soared, a vibrant melody that thrummed through the air like the pulse of the universe. As she began to move, a burst of energy ignited within her. Each leap and twirl became more than just movement, it was a celebration of every struggle her community faced. She danced for the single mothers fighting to make ends meet, the children who dreamed of a better future, the elderly who held stories of resilience in their hearts. The spark is there, she thought, her feet instinctively finding the rhythm in the floor beneath her. Mia poured everything she had into her performance. With every spin, she saw the smiles grow on the faces in the crowd. Families were connecting, laughter rippling through the air, and, slowly, the burden of fear began to lift like mist in the morning sun. As she finished her final pose, breathless and shining with sweat, the crowd erupted into applause. The love radiated back to her, wrapping her in a warm embrace. It was as if she had woven their hopes into a tapestry, a beautiful reminder that together they could rise above their struggles. But just as Mia felt the thrill of victory, she noticed a figure at the edge of the crowd, a stern face she recognized all too well. It was her father, a man shadowed by life's disappointments, arms crossed tightly over his chest. The joy she felt quickened, but so did a swell of anxiety. Would he understand? Would he finally see her? As the music faded and applause ebbed, Mia's heart raced for a new reason. She had always longed for her father's approval, for him to witness the spark that had shone brighter than either of them imagined. Turning to where he stood, her heart pounded as she caught his gaze. Would he step into her light? And just like that, a new question loomed in the air. Would the moment of joy spark more than just applause? Would it bridge the chasm of silence that had grown between them? Every fiber in Mia's being urged her to push further. This was only the beginning. Mia stood there, panting, the energy still crackling through her limbs. The crowd's applause enveloped her like a comforting blanket. But her eyes were locked on her father. For a moment, the world around her faded, it was just him and her in that tiny spot of the universe where everything she had worked for hung in the balance. His expression, inscrutable, sent a chill down Mia's spine. The tightness in his arms didn't soften, and she wondered if he felt her disappointment through the distance they shared. Was he proud? Angry? Confused? She had conquered the stage, but this was a different kind of challenge. Rebuilding their relationship felt like a dance all on its own, delicate and fraught with risk. As the last echo of thunderous applause lingered, Mia willed her legs to move. One small step toward him felt monumental. She could almost hear her heart thundering in her ears, each beat urging her onward. What if he turned away? What if he didn't even speak? Mia. A voice broke through the tension. It was Lucas, rushing over, still buzzing with excitement. That was amazing. You absolutely lit up the stage. He threw his arms around her, and for a moment, Mia reveled in his warmth and energy. It felt wonderful, but it also reminded her of the bigger picture. She needed to bridge that gap between her and her father. Thanks, Lucas, she said, attempting a smile. But her heart wasn't in it. She glanced back at her father, who hadn't moved an inch. I'll be right back, she told Lucas, not waiting for a response. Determined, Mia approached him, the weight of unsaid words pushing against her chest. Dad? She offered softly, unsure how to fill the silence that loomed so heavily. His eyes flickered to hers as if startled from a reverie. You did well, he finally said, his voice steady but devoid of enthusiasm. But he hesitated, darting his gaze to the ground. What does this mean? Where's it all heading? Mia felt her heart twist. Did he not see how far she had come? How this dance wasn't just a passion but a path toward healing for both of them. It means I want to share my dreams with you. This isn't just about dancing, Dad. It's about all of us finding our way. Tears sprung to her eyes, uninvited but undeniable. His expression softened ever so slightly, and for the first time, she saw a glimpse of vulnerability. Maybe he was struggling to find the right words. The moment teetered on the edge. Would he reach out, or would they remain stuck in their familiar cycle of avoidance? Before she could second-guess herself, Mia continued, "You taught me to fight through my fears and to never give up. I want to show you that we can do this together, that we can bridge what has been broken." A flicker of something hope, perhaps, crossed his face. But it was fleeting. "Mia, it's not easy to just change. We're not the same people anymore." The weight of his words hung heavily between them. Her heart sank, but she pressed on, unwilling to let the moment slip away. "We can figure this out, Dad. Together." Just as it seemed he might respond, the chatter of the crowd swelled, pulling him back into the noise. He turned slightly, almost as if to retreat. The sense of abandonment washed over her, but she held on to hope. "Just think about it. Please." Mia stepped back, retreating to the safety of her friends, but the ache in her chest remained. She had reached for the fragile connection, but would her father grasp it? As she joined Lucas and the others, exhilaration from the performance started to fade, replaced by uncertainty. She had taken a brave step, but would it lead to the reconciliation she hoped for or deepen the divide? The question loomed in the air, lingering like unfinished music. Could she break through where silence had reigned for so long? Would her father see the beauty of their potential dance? Mia stood at the edge of the gathering, her heart racing. Laughter and excitement enveloped her, yet the joy felt distant, muffled by the weight of her father's words. She forced herself to smile and engage with Lucas and her other friends, but her thoughts kept drifting back to him. Suddenly, the adrenaline from her performance dulled, replaced by the haunting echoes of their conversation. "Hey, Mia. Wanna celebrate?" Lucas asked, his face bright, eyes glistening with enthusiasm. "Yeah, sure," she replied, though her voice felt hollow. The idea of celebrating felt foreign, almost wrong when the most important connection in her life still felt so broken. The group made their way to a nearby cafe, laughter bubbling around her, but Mia couldn't shake the heaviness settling in her chest. She ordered a slice of chocolate cake, hoping it would sweeten her mood, but as she sat down, the cake tasted bland. "Everything okay?" Lucas asked, his usual brightness dimming slightly as he noticed her distracted demeanor. "Yeah, just thinking," she replied, forcing a light chuckle, but inside, her mind was racing with thoughts of her father. Was he still standing there, watching the crowd, feeling that same distance? Would he ever come to see her dance again? Hours later, when the cafe buzz faded to silence and Mia finally made her way home, she felt the familiar chill of uncertainty settling around her like a blanket. The drive was quiet, and the weight of her father's hesitation now weighed heavily on her shoulders. Arriving home, she slipped off her shoes and sunk into the comfort of her favorite chair. The sunlight painted the walls with warmth, but she felt anything but warm inside. Suddenly, her phone buzzed, breaking through her spiraling thoughts. A message from Lucas read, "You were incredible today. Don't let anything dim your light." A small smile crept onto her face, a reminder of the spark she felt on stage. Yet, she couldn't help but wonder if she could shine brightly enough to break through the shadows surrounding her father. That night, sleep eluded her. Images from the performance danced in her mind, mixed with memories of her father's proud moments and his disappointed silence. The thought of him turning away from her gnawed at her insides, and tears slipped down her cheeks silently. Why was it so hard for them to bridge this gap? As dawn approached, the sun's early light filled her room. Mia resolved to not let despair anchor her down. In her gut, she felt a surge of determination. If words couldn't reach him, maybe showing him through her art could. It was always the language they shared, the one thing that twined them together despite the silence. Later that day, Mia decided to take a leap, hoping to pull her father closer instead of waiting. She pulled out her dance notebook, pages filled with her choreography, emotions, and dreams. She began jotting down a new piece, the culmination of her heart, aimed squarely at him. She envisioned him watching as she danced, every step a message, every line a bridge. This performance would be different. It would speak the words neither of them could say aloud. She needed him to know this was more than just dancing, it was the journey toward healing. Together. As her eyes scanned the blank page, she wrote the title, To Dad with Love. The anticipation tingled in her bones. Would he see it? Would he feel it? With renewed hope spiraling inside her, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that today marked the beginning of something new. It took a deep breath before she sent him a text. Dad, I want to show you something. Can we talk? As she hit send, Mia's heartbeat quickened anew. Would this be the moment their story took a turn? Would her father be ready to step into the light beside her? Mia paced her small room, the walls echoing with memories of laughter and warmth that used to fill their home. When the blue light of her phone illuminated, she half hoped it would be a reply from her dad, but it was just a notification from a dance app, offering new tutorials. She sighed, frustration building. It felt like a lifeline to find her way back to her dad through dance, but all the practice in the world meant nothing if he didn't show up. With the notebook resting on her lap, she ran her fingers over the title she had written. To Dad with Love. Each word felt heavier than the last, full of promise and dread. She jotted down the first sequence she envisioned, movements pulsing with unspoken words. But the choreography began to blur as her mind spiraled back to her father. What had changed? When did their rhythm become discordant? She wondered if he felt it too, the huge rift that had formed between them, a chasm filled with unshared thoughts and feelings. Deep down, she knew she'd have to break that silence. Show him she was not just a child he once knew but a dancer, an artist, and someone trying to bridge their worlds together. As the sun dipped lower, painting her room a soft amber, Mia felt the fury of emotions bubbling. It wasn't fair. A father's love should be an unwavering presence, not an observer from the sidelines. She closed her eyes, recalling his support at her first recital, the way his pride radiated from him. But that was then. Before the silence, suddenly, her phone buzzed again, and this time, her breath hitched. It was him. Mia, what do you want to show me? Her heart raced. It was such a simple text, yet it felt monumental. He was willing to engage. Maybe this was the opening she had been longing for. She took a moment, feeling a rush of gratitude before diving into her response. It's something I've been working on. I want to show you how dance speaks for me. Can you come to the studio tomorrow? There was a pause, a breathless moment where she feared he might turn away again. But then it came, the familiar sound of a typing bubble. Okay. I'll be there. Mia's heart soared. The echo of doubt that had lingered faded for the first time in months. She would dance for her dad, and maybe, just maybe, that would light the way back to each other. The night crept in, cloaked in uncertainty and anticipation. As Mia stretched and prepared for the following day, she felt a blend of excitement and anxiety. How would he respond? Would he recognize the emotions she poured into each movement? Mia's mind raced with the possible outcomes, each one a twist of hope and fear. She envisioned her dad walking into the studio, uncertainty etched on his face turning to surprise as she told her unfiltered stories through her dance. Tomorrow was going to be more than just showing a routine, it would be her heart laid bare, dancing for repair, in the hopes of building a bridge, one step at a time. As she drifted off to sleep, she clutched the notebook to her chest. Perhaps this conversation was the start of something beautiful. Maybe she could have her father back, yet, a question gnawed at her as she closed her eyes. What if he didn't understand? The night deepened, holding promise and dread in equal measure. Tomorrow held everything, and Mia's pulse raced like a dance of its own, leading her into the unknown. Would her performance successfully speak what had been silenced for too long? The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a gentle glow on Mia's room. She woke with a jolt, excitement bubbling in her chest, mixing with the remnants of her anxiety. Today was the day, the moment she had been building up to. She looked at the notebook beside her, its pages filled with movements meant to express the weight of her heart. She rushed through her morning routine, her mind replaying the choreography as if it were a song stuck in her head. Each step, each twirl, was a message to her dad, a way to bridge the gap that had formed between them. As she arrived at the studio, her heart hammered in her chest, an unsteady rhythm that mirrored her doubts. The faint scent of wood and polish filled the space, familiar yet distant. It felt both like home and a stranger's embrace as she stepped inside. The room was empty, awaiting her presence, but it felt alive. The mirrors reflected her anticipation, her resolve. She stood in front of the bar, taking a deep breath. It was key to clear her mind and focus on the movements she had painstakingly crafted. She needed to channel every bit of emotion she had: love, confusion, anger, transforming it into dance. Minutes passed, and she practiced, her body flowing from one sequence to another, expressing what words could not. With each leap and spin, she sculpted her heart into something visible, something her dad could see and feel. Sweat glistened on her brow, but she wiped it away with determination. Time stretched, each tick of the clock growing louder in her ears. Would he be late? Was he even coming? She inhaled deeply, reminding herself of their previous conversation. A surge of hope intertwined with fear surged through her. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Time seemed to stand still as Mia turned to see her dad step into the studio. He looked different somehow, more worn than she remembered, but his presence invigorated her. "Hey," he said softly, his eyes scanning the room and then landing on her. "Hi," she managed, her voice trembling. A mix of vulnerability and strength coursed through her. I'm ready to see what you've been working on," he said, a hint of nerves in his tone. Taking a deep breath, she nodded. This was it. She launched into her dance, pushing every ounce of emotion into each move. It was more than a performance, it was her frustration, her anguish, her love brought to life. She twirled, leaped, and swept across the floor, feeling the energy shift around her. As she moved, she stole glances at her dad, his face transformed from uncertainty to awe, and then to something more profound, recognition. With every step, she prayed he understood the way dance spoke for her, the way it defined their relationship. She lost herself in the rhythm, feeling liberated, yet so incredibly vulnerable. When she finished, breathless and teary-eyed, she noticed her father standing still, mesmerized. Silence lingered in the air, filled with unspoken words. "Wow," he breathed, finally breaking the stillness. "I didn't know." "That's how I feel, Dad," she said, desperation leaking into her voice. "I've been trying to tell you. This is me." And for the first time, Mia felt the chasm between them beginning to crack. But before she could respond, he seemed to recoil slightly, as if a new realization settled over him. "Mia," he paused, searching for the right words, the weight heavy in the air. "I didn't realize how much you needed me." Would he truly understand everything in that moment? Mia's pulse quickened. Would this spark a real conversation, or would it fade back into silence? As her heart raced in anticipation, something shifted behind his eyes, stirring deeper emotions. What would he say next? Would they finally find their rhythm again? The air felt thick with tension as Mia stared at her dad, searching his face for signs of hope. His eyes, usually so reassuring, now carried a heaviness that made her heart feel like lead in her chest. "Dad," she found her voice, softer this time. "I just need you to see me. See who I am now." He looked down, fidgeting with the edge of his shirt, and her heart sank. Did he understand? Did he want to? "I didn't know you were hurting like this." His words were like a gentle wave of realization, washing over the uncertainty that had clouded their interactions for so long. "I've been so caught up in," he paused, the weight of his own words pausing them both. "In everything else." Mia took a cautious step closer, feeling the space between them still so vast. "I wanted to share this with you. To show you how I feel when I dance. It's not just movement, it's my voice." The silence that followed felt like an eternity. She held her breath, hoping for connection. She needed him to reach out, to step closer, to choose to cross the invisible line that had kept them apart. But instead, he took a step back. "I need time, Mia." His voice faltered slightly. I need to think. That phrase again. Time. It echoed in her mind, solidifying the fear building inside her. Time to understand. Time to process. Time. But how much time? Dad, please. I'm standing here, pouring my heart out. Her voice began to tremble, emotion rising like a tide that threatened to engulf her. I can't keep waiting for you to be ready. His gaze remained fixed on the ground, and Mia felt the familiar sting of frustration combined with desperation. I thought we could finally talk about us. About everything we've lost. Slowly, he lifted his eyes. We can, Mia. I don't know how. The vulnerability in his admission broke something inside her. It was bittersweet. She felt a flicker of hope but was crushed beneath the weight of uncertainty. I thought this dance would help us find our way back. He took a deep breath, his expression softening as he took in her glistening eyes and flushed cheeks. It was beautiful. You have a gift. But I'm scared of what? She challenged gently. Of failing you again. But that's the thing. Mia exclaimed, her heart racing further. This is our chance. Your fear doesn't have to dictate our future. We can start over. He shook his head. I don't want you to get your hopes up. Silence settled in once more, wrapping around them like a shroud. Why can't you see that I want to be here? Mia's voice cracked, tears brimming as she tried to hold herself together. I need you now, Dad. Just like I needed you then. He looked pained, the tension tightening in his jaw. I don't know how to be what you need. I've let you down. I don't want to make it worse. Mia stepped forward, reaching out. You have to try. Just try. Show up for me, like I'm showing up for you. For a moment, the world around them faded, and it felt as if they were the only two people in the universe. Yet, the cracks remained, widening with every heartbeat. Would he take her hand and step into the uncertainty together, or would he withdraw again into silence? As her heart thrummed in her chest, she could almost hear the ticking clock, counting down the seconds left in this moment. What if I can't? He whispered, vulnerability etched across his face. Mia held her breath, clinging tightly to the hope that flickered between them. This was the moment of truth, but it could go either way. What choice would he make? Mia's heart raced as she watched her father's expression shift. The pain in his eyes reflected her own uncertainty, but for a fleeting moment, she hoped that maybe, just maybe, he would take a step toward her. Dad, she whispered, trying to bridge the gap between them. I've been trying to tell you how much I need you, how much I've always needed you. He hesitated, the intensity of the moment heavy between them. Mia, you don't understand. I've tried to be a good father. But I've made mistakes, he said, his voice barely a murmur. His confession hit her hard, like a punch to the gut. That was exactly what she feared, the realization of how distant they had become, each mistake stacking up like bricks of sorrow. Let us fix it, she urged, the desperation spilling into her words. We can face this together. I won't let the past keep us apart. He looked searchingly at her, perhaps for the strength to say yes, but the inner turmoil was clear on his face. The vulnerability between them was almost tangible, each waiting for the other to take that leap. I want to, he finally admitted, his voice trembling with emotion. But what if I fail again? What if I can't be what you need? Mia stepped closer, narrowing the space that felt impossibly large. But what if you surprise yourself? What if this time, it's different? She could feel the warmth radiating from him, a mix of fear and reluctant hope, and she knew she had to push through. You taught me to be brave, Dad. You told me that the only way to grow is to step outside our comfort zone. His gaze softened slightly as he processed her words. I want to, I really do. But everything feels so complicated. Life is complicated, she replied softly. But it's worth fighting for. We can figure it out together. He finally drew a deep breath. What do you want from me? It was a simple question, but filled with the weight of expectations and fears that hung heavy in the air. I want you to be present. I want us to communicate, she said, her voice steady despite the emotions running through her. I want to share moments like dancing together. I want to laugh again. I want to feel like we're a family again. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the noise of the world around them faded into nothing. The hope coursing through her was infectious, igniting something in him that she could almost see flickering to life. But where do we even start? He asked, a hint of vulnerability remaining in his eyes. Mia squeezed her hands together, feeling the anticipation and uncertainty swirl within her. How about here? How about by dancing, just like I wanted? Just the two of us. He visibly flinched at the suggestion, the idea seeming foreign, yet it lit up a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. Dancing, together? Yeah, she smiled, a glimmer of hope blooming in her chest. Just like before, but this time, let us really connect. Let us make it our moment, something real. He hesitated, his confidence wavering. Finally, he took a small step forward, solidifying the cautious bridge that was beginning to form. Okay, he said softly. Let us give it a try. Mia's heart leapt as she reached out for his hand, a surge of hope filling her. But as he grasped her fingers, a sudden echo of doubt clawed its way back in her mind. Would this moment be enough? As they positioned themselves, amidst the silence that hung between them, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the edge of something big. Would dancing truly bring them together, or would it merely serve as a distraction from deeper issues still lurking beneath the surface? Mia felt the tension twist like a vine around them as they stood in the quiet living room, her breaths quick and shallow. The music was still playing softly in the background, a comforting tune that used to upload such warmth into their home. It felt like their lives were frozen, suspended in this moment of potential and uncertainty. She could hear her heart thumping louder than the sound of the melody, and she clenched her father's hand tighter, almost willing him to feel her determination. Just move with me, Dad, she said, her voice steadying as she tried to coax him out of his shell. Just let the music guide us. He nodded slowly, a hesitant smile forming on his lips, but she could tell that his mind was racing. With uncertainty still flickering in his eyes, he stepped closer, his left hand finding her waist while the right clasped hers. The contact sent a wave of warmth through her, a flicker of hope igniting between them. They started to sway, at first awkwardly. His old sneakers shuffled against the wooden floor, a rhythmic scrape that echoed in the silence of the house. Mia bit her lip to fight back a laugh at how out of sync they were. She felt it was important to keep the mood light, so she mirrored his movements, exaggerating her steps and creating a silly little beat between them. Just like this, Dad. Feel the rhythm. She encouraged, her cheeks flushing with excitement. As the music swelled, he slowly fell into the rhythm, his movements becoming more fluid and less mechanical. For the first time, she saw a glimpse of the father she had once known lost somewhere beneath the stubborn layers of regret and sadness. See, this isn't so bad, Mia grinned, twirling in place, her dress flaring out around her, inviting him to let go. Dance like nobody's watching. He chuckled, a genuine laugh emerging from his lips. Something inside Mia lit up at the sound. It felt like a spark had begun to bridge the gap between them, a chance to reconnect. She realized, too, that this dance wasn't just about the steps or the music. It was a way to rebuild everything that had fallen apart, but as they continued to sway, the rhythm faltered again, and the weight of their unresolved pain crept back into the space between them. His laughter faded, eyes clouding with memories they had yet to confront. Remember the last time we danced? He asked softly, his gaze shifted to somewhere far beyond the walls of their home. When you were little? You kept stepping on my toes. She chuckled, picturing the laughter that had once filled the air. You complained a lot, Dad. But we made it fun. Her tone laced with a hint of nostalgia, she leaned closer, hoping to draw him away from the shadow of past mistakes. We can make new memories, you know. We just need to keep trying. He took a deep breath, as if summoning the courage buried deep within him. You're right. We can't let fear win. We need to talk about everything about what's been keeping us apart. Mia's stomach tightened with both fear and anticipation. Was talking going to lead them to healing, or would it threaten to unravel this fragile moment they were sharing? As the music played on, she wondered if they were truly ready to face the pain of the past head-on. The thought sent a shiver down her spine, and she gripped his hand tighter, feeling that this moment, this dance, was just the beginning of something much bigger. A new beginning, together, she whispered, scanning his face for any sign of understanding. The question still sat heavy in her heart: could they really do this? Let's take it step by step, he finally said, soft determination edging his voice. But I need to know, are you willing to face the hard stuff with me? Mia gave him a steady nod, feeling the weight of the moment sink in. Yes, I'm ready. If you're ready. But beneath her calm facade, doubt loomed like a dark cloud. What if their attempts to restore their bond only revealed deeper wounds than they had anticipated? With one final twirl, Mia caught his eye, determination sparking a challenge between them. Then let's start this dance for real. As the music faded into silence, they stood in the middle of their living room, hands still clasped, hearts beating as one. But they both knew they were only at the beginning of a long, intricate journey. What will it take to truly heal, Dad? She asked, curiosity flickering in her gaze, and in that moment, both of them understood they were about to uncover truths that could either bind them together or pull them apart completely. Mia and her father stood still, the air thick with unspoken promises and the weight of the past bearing down on them. It felt as if everything they had longed for rested on the edge of a knife, teetering between hope and uncertainty. Let's dance again, Mia suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. But this time, let's do it right. She sensed that the more they danced, the more they could grapple with the feelings that had been buried beneath layers of silence. With a tentative nod, he shifted his hands, taking a step closer to her. I'm ready, he declared, a note of determination ringing through the uncertainty. They resumed their slow sway, but this time, Mia guided them with confidence, the music sparking a rhythm that echoed in both their hearts. As they moved, she poured all her desires into each movement, conveying her eagerness for connection. Each twirl mirrored her determination to break through the walls they had built. She caught his gaze, finding a flicker of something that gave her hope. Just let go, Dad, she encouraged, her eyes shining with fervor. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be vulnerable. The familiar melody filled the space, gliding over them, inviting them to explore emotions long left unaddressed. The dance carried them into memories of laughter and shared moments from Mia's childhood. The twinkling lights of past celebrations flickered in her mind, their earlier struggles transformed into warmth. She twirled again, inviting him to join her, and she felt a shift in his posture as he began to loosen up. That's it. She cheered, excitement dancing in her chest as he began to follow her lead, letting his body move with her rhythm. They laughed, stumbling into one another, hearts suddenly lighter as the shared joy flooded their souls. It feels good to laugh again, he admitted, his smile growing more genuine as he watched her with pride. I didn't want to bring my fears into your world. I wanted to protect you. But by hiding, Mia replied, it pushed me away. I needed you, Dad, just as you needed me. The truth rose unfiltered between them, a powerful current of understanding sparking in the silence she had fought against for so long. They found their footing as Mia carefully led him, her every step deliberate. As he mirrored her movements, he began to express himself not just through his feet but in the way he looked at her, the admiration swelling in his chest. It was fragile, yet beautiful, the realization that they might rebuild together. Mia, he said, halting briefly, uncertainty creeping back into his voice, I can't promise I'll get it right every time. She held his gaze firmly, stopping their dance. But you don't have to be perfect. Just be here. With me. The sincerity in her eyes bore into his heart, breaking through the remaining barriers like the first rays of light cutting through a thick fog. He took a deep breath, the burden of doubt lifting ever so slightly. I want to be part of your dreams again, to understand your world. Then let us work on this together, Mia urged, her heart soaring at the prospect. One step at a time. They resumed their dance, this time with an energized connection that radiated through the room. The music swelled, and each spin spoke volumes of their resolve to create a bond anew. Will you join me for my next performance? Mia asked, her excitement bubbling forth again. I want you to see where this can take us. Seeing the determination in her eyes, her father nodded slowly, the lines of worry beginning to soften on his face. Yes, I'll be there, Mia. I promise. The words felt like a lifeline being thrown, and she reached for it, clinging on to the thrill of possibility. As they danced, still caught in the symphony of newfound hope, Mia realized that they were no longer just moving through the motions. They danced for every missed opportunity, every unshared moment, and every ounce of pain that had kept them apart. The music faded, but the bond was stronger now. They paused, breathless and glowing with vulnerability and warmth. They stood as a family again, not perfect, but together, willing to face the uncertainties ahead. Without another word, they knew it was the start of something remarkable, a promise woven in every step they shared, a testament that even amidst struggle, redemption was possible. As they moved to the side, Mia smiled, her heart full of dreams, surrounded by the light of newfound connection and endless possibilities. And in that moment, the rhythm of life felt right again. Let us create something beautiful, Mia said, her voice brimming with determination. Her father nodded, resolute. Together, we'll dance through it. Make sure you subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us reach more people who need this inspiration. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand how important it is to support our journey.